My name is Victoria Price, and I will be talking about the mystery of fibromyalgia. When I was 14 years old, I had just started high school. It was my freshman year, or what we like to call 9th grade. If you remember your freshman year, you know it was a very intense time. To make matters worse, I started to develop symptoms of extreme muscle and joint pain, fatigue, lightheadedness, and other symptoms that were not normal for a 14-year-old. As the years went by, these symptoms stuck around and they actually got worse. I was in and out of doctors' offices and emergency rooms trying to figure out what exactly was going on. I had several blood tests, CT scans, ultrasounds, and other tests done. Every test came back as healthy or negative, as in I did not have the condition that was tested. While that should have brought me comfort, at the same time I was frustrated because I didn't know what was going on. It wasn't until I was 17 that I went to the rheumatology division at Emory, and I finally got the diagnosis, that diagnosis being fibromyalgia. While I was happy that I had an answer, I was also confused because I didn't know what fibromyalgia was. I mean, you don't hear much about fibromyalgia or even learn about fibromyalgia for that point. So with everything that I have experienced and learned, I would like to share with everyone what fibromyalgia is, the specific symptoms that accompany fibromyalgia, as well as a little background to fibromyalgia. So let's begin with what exactly is fibromyalgia. While it is complex, Magill'S medical guide explains fibromyalgia as a connective soft tissue disease including chronic, spontaneous, and widespread musculoskeletal pain. Since that is from a medical guide, it is a very lengthy definition, so we'll just break it down a little bit. Fibromyalgia is often characterized as a syndrome. I like to think of a syndrome as my mother's purse. She has a very big purse with a lot of things inside of it. Similarly, a syndrome is one condition with several symptoms inside of it. The main symptom that is characterized with fibromyalgia is chronic, widespread pain. It goes throughout the musculoskeletal system. So what exactly is that? Pain spreads throughout the body, in the joints, in the muscles, and in the bones, but there is no inflammation. Oftentimes researchers like to combine fibromyalgia with other rheumatic conditions like arthritis, but Dr. Horowitz describes that fibromyalgia does not cause inflammation of or damage to the joints, muscles, and other tissues, therefore separating it from other rheumatic conditions. Now that we know what fibromyalgia is, let's look at certain symptoms. We have focused on the chronic and widespread pain, which is the main symptom of fibromyalgia, but there are obviously more since this is a syndrome. The other symptoms including fatigue, lightheadedness, irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bladder syndrome, night sweats, cold intolerance, and abundance of more symptoms. One main symptom is tender points along the body. What these tender points are spots where the body is very tender to the touch and emit the most pain when fibromyalgia flares and has extreme pain. These points are along the body in the neck, down the spine, in the hips, and in the knees. Now that we know some of the symptoms, let's look at a little background of fibromyalgia. I remember telling you in the beginning that I didn't know about fibromyalgia because it's not talked about. In fact, fibromyalgia was not a real medical condition until 1990. Doctors believed that patients were making it up or it was all in their head. Actually, some doctors still do say that it is all in your head. But fibromyalgia was considered a real medical condition in 1990 when the American College of Rheumatology gave it a name and criteria. To summarize, we now know the definition, the symptoms, and a history of fibromyalgia. We have come a long way since 1990 with information about fibromyalgia, but there's still a lot to learn. In fact, I don't know if the mystery is information provided to researchers about fibromyalgia, or is it the information given to the public about fibromyalgia? I'll let you decide that.